Poland is the only country in European Union which we haven't had even one terrorist attack. We don't have stabbings, we don't have we don't have all these really dangerous behaviors from migrants, illegal migrants. So our policy is very straight, zero tolerance. We built a beautiful wall on our border with Belarus, and there's no way anyone would enter Poland. When you see the data from Eurostat, not ours, from European Union, Poland is the safest country in Europe.
Imagine a country that opens its doors to millions of immigrants, welcoming them with open arms, but with one critical exception. A nation that says yes to doctors, engineers, and workers from all over the world, yet draws a hard line when it comes to Muslims. This is the story of Poland, a country at the heart of Europe, but standing firm against the wave of multiculturalism that has swept across the continent. Why does Poland accept millions of immigrants, but not Muslims? What drives this seemingly controversial policy? Is it about protecting national security, preserving cultural identity, or something deeper? And what drastic measures is Poland taking to enforce this policy? From fortified borders to zero-tolerance laws. How far will they go to safeguard their nation? In this video, we're diving deep into Poland's immigration stance, uncovering the challenges they face, the bold measures they've taken, and the impact of these decisions on their nation and beyond. Stay with us, because what we're about to reveal might just change the way you think about immigration, security, and the very fabric of European society. August 2024 has been a difficult month for Europe, particularly in the United Kingdom, where anti-Muslim riots erupted following a tragic incident. On July 29, 2024, a stabbing attack at a children's event in Southport resulted in the deaths of 3 young girls and critically injured several others. Although the perpetrator was a local teenager, misinformation rapidly spread online, falsely identifying the attacker as a Muslim asylum seeker. This disinformation ignited a wave of violent riots across the UK, with far-right groups targeting Muslim communities and asylum centers. Over the course of a week, cities including London, Birmingham, and Manchester witnessed intense clashes between rioters and police. Mobs attacked hotels housing asylum seekers, looted businesses, and set fire to buildings. The violence was so widespread that by August 7th, more than 400 people had been arrested, and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer had to deploy a special police force to restore order. The riots, driven by anti-immigrant and Islamophobic sentiment, have left the nation on edge, with many fearing further unrest. In Germany, similar tensions have surfaced. Following a deadly stabbing by a Syrian asylum seeker in Solingen, the German government announced stringent new immigration measures aiming at curbing such violence. This includes faster deportations and increased security at public events. The rise of the far-right Alternative for Germany AfD party, which advocates for anti-immigration policies, has only added to the volatile atmosphere. In Sweden, the trial of 2 men involved in the burning of the Quran in 2023 continues to exacerbate tensions. These events have strained Sweden's relations with Muslim-majority countries and raised security concerns domestically, contributing to the broader context of unrest linked to immigration across Europe. As Europe struggles with increasing unrest linked to Muslim immigration, Poland has stood firm in its decision to keep Muslim immigrants out. Polish leaders believe that this strict stance is crucial to preventing the kind of violence and chaos that is currently happening in other European countries. In August 2024, Polish officials made it clear that their borders are tightly controlled, especially against illegal immigrants from Muslim-majority countries. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, in a speech on August 15, 2024, emphasized that Poland's top priority is to protect its people and maintain its cultural identity. He pointed out how countries like the UK and Germany are dealing with riots and violence, using these examples to justify Poland's tough immigration policies. To ensure the security of its borders, Poland has increased the number of border patrols and invested in advanced surveillance technology. These measures make it very difficult for anyone to enter the country illegally. Poland's zero-tolerance policy means that anyone trying to cross the border without proper documentation is stopped immediately. Recent statistics from the Polish Ministry of the Interior show that attempts at illegal immigration have dropped by 35% compared to the previous year. The government attributes this success to their strict border security and clear messaging that Poland will not accept illegal immigrants, especially those who might pose a security risk. While some European Union officials have criticized Poland's approach, arguing that it goes against the EU's values of solidarity and helping those in need, Polish leaders remain committed to their strategy. They argue that their main duty is to protect Polish citizens and preserve their country's way of life. Why does Poland open its doors to millions of immigrants, yet firmly close them to Muslims? This policy isn't just about numbers. It's a calculated strategy that reflects deeper concerns. Since the Ukraine conflict began, Poland has accepted over 2.51 million Ukrainian refugees, offering them safety and support. But when it comes to Muslim-majority countries, the approach is starkly different. The Polish government argues that this selective approach is necessary to maintain national security and cultural cohesion. In contrast, only a fraction of asylum applications from Muslim-majority countries are approved each year, reflecting the country's cautious stance. Is this approach driven by fear, pragmatism, or something deeper? The Polish leadership believes that the lessons from neighboring countries, where the integration of Muslim immigrants has been challenging, justify their policies. Poland's leaders point to the increasing unrest in countries like Germany and Sweden, where attempts at multiculturalism have led to significant social and security issues. As you look at the numbers, a pattern emerges. Poland is making a clear distinction between immigrants based on their cultural and religious background. The country's immigration strategy is designed not just to control who enters its borders, but to shape the very fabric of its society. This raises critical questions. How far is Poland willing to go to protect its national identity? And what are the long-term implications of this exclusionary policy for both Poland and Europe? These are the questions that continue to fuel debate and controversy both within Poland and across the continent. Poland's hardline stance on excluding Muslim immigrants is rooted in a deep-seated fear of terrorism and social unrest. But is this fear justified or an overreaction? Recent violent incidents across Europe, such as the knife attacks and riots in Germany, have reinforced Poland's concerns. Polish leaders often ask, could we face the same threats if we allow Muslim immigrants into our country? This concern isn't just speculative. Polish officials cite specific cases from other nations where Muslim immigrants have been linked to acts of terrorism, arguing that the risk is too great to ignore. But does this approach actually make Poland safer? By preventing potential threats at the border, the Polish government believes it is protecting its citizens from the kind of chaos that has plagued other European countries. Yet this raises critical questions. Can a nation truly ensure its safety through exclusion? Or does this approach fuel further division and tension within Europe? Beyond security, there's a deeper, more emotional reason for Poland's stance: the preservation of its Catholic and Slavic identity. Poland's history is filled with the stories of resistance against foreign invaders, from the Ottoman Empire to the Soviet Union. These historical memories shape Poland's current policies, but is this fear of cultural dilution valid in today's globalized world? Poland views Islamization as a threat to its way of life, fearing that an influx of Muslim immigrants could erode its religious and cultural heritage. But is this fear based on reality, or is it a relic of past conflicts? The Polish government's approach sparks curiosity and debate. How does a nation balance the need for cultural preservation with the demands of a modern, interconnected world? Can Poland maintain its identity without isolating itself from the rest of Europe? These questions linger as Poland continues to chart its own course in a continent that is increasingly diverse and multicultural. The nation's policy raises important discussions about the future of Europe, the integration of immigrants, and the preservation of cultural identity in a rapidly changing world. Poland's borders have become the front line in its fight against illegal immigration. With a crisis in Europe escalating, Poland faces constant attempts by illegal immigrants to cross into the country, particularly from Belarus. But what makes Poland's borders so challenging to defend? The geographical proximity to conflict zones and political tensions with Belarus have turned this border into a hotspot for illegal crossings. In August 2024 alone, there were numerous incidents where groups of migrants, mainly from Middle Eastern countries, tried to breach the fortified borders. These incidents highlight the ongoing tension and the continuous pressure on Poland's border security forces. One particularly alarming event occurred on August 14, 2024, when a large group attempted a coordinated crossing, resulting in a tense standoff with Polish border guards. The situation exemplifies the daily struggles Poland faces in maintaining its border integrity. To combat these challenges, Poland has significantly reinforced its border infrastructure. The construction of a robust border wall along the Belarusian frontier stands as a physical testament to Poland's resolve. This wall, equipped with advanced surveillance systems, is designed to prevent illegal crossings. But is a wall enough to stop the tide of migration? For Poland, it is a critical piece of a larger strategy aimed at securing its borders against unauthorized entry. The wall's reinforcement in 2024 included adding new layers of detection technology, making it even harder for illegal crossings to go unnoticed. Poland's zero-tolerance policy is another cornerstone of its strategy. This policy means that anyone caught crossing the border illegally, particularly from Muslim-majority countries, faces immediate deportation and legal consequences. But how effective is this approach? In August 2024, Polish authorities implemented new laws that intensify penalties for illegal border crossings, including longer detention times and quicker deportation processes. These measures are meant to send a clear message: illegal entry will not be tolerated under any circumstances. Poland's hardline stance on immigration, particularly its exclusion of Muslim immigrants, has strained its relationships with other EU countries. As of August 2024, these tensions have escalated, with several EU nations openly criticizing Poland's approach. Countries like Germany and France have expressed concerns that Poland's policies undermine the EU's principles of solidarity and shared responsibility in handling the migrant crisis. The European Commission has also raised the possibility of imposing financial penalties or reducing Poland's access to EU funds, arguing that Warsaw's actions are at odds with the bloc's collective agreements on immigration and asylum. One significant flashpoint occurred when Poland refused to participate in the EU's refugee resettlement program, which aimed to distribute asylum seekers more evenly across member states. This refusal has led to diplomatic rifts, with Poland being accused of not pulling its weight in a time of crisis. Additionally, some EU officials have warned that Poland's continued defiance could result in further isolation within the Union, potentially weakening its influence in future EU decisions. Despite its strict immigration policies, especially against Muslim immigrants, Poland's businesses are sounding the alarm. In August 2024, many Polish employers called for a more open approach to immigration because they desperately needed more workers. Here's where it gets interesting. Poland's decision to exclude Muslim immigrants is not just about culture or security. It's also affecting its economy. With an aging population and fewer young people entering the workforce, Poland needs more hands on deck. But by limiting who can enter, especially from Muslim-majority countries, the nation might be shooting itself in the foot. Could Poland's strict stance be costing it the very workers it needs to thrive? This tension between maintaining cultural identity and meeting economic needs creates a fascinating dilemma. Will Poland adapt its policies to save its economy, or will it stick to its guns? The answer could reshape the future of the country. While Poland's strict immigration policies have been praised by some for maintaining national security and cultural identity, they have also attracted significant criticism on humanitarian and ethical grounds. International organizations and human rights groups have raised concerns about Poland's exclusion of Muslim immigrants, arguing that these policies contribute to discrimination and violate global human rights standards. Within the European Union, Poland's approach has sparked debates about the country's commitment to shared European values of solidarity and inclusiveness. Critics argue that by refusing to accept Muslim immigrants, Poland is turning its back on those fleeing war, persecution, and poverty, thereby failing to uphold its moral and humanitarian obligations. This ethical dimension adds a complex layer to Poland's immigration debate, challenging the country to reconcile its internal policies with the broader expectations of the global community. Looking ahead, Poland's immigration policies are shaping more than just its borders. They could redefine Europe's future. While these measures might shield Poland from instability, they also risk deepening divisions within the EU and isolating the country from its neighbors. But there's another aspect to consider. Could Poland's approach inspire a broader shift across Europe, where nations prioritize security and cultural identity over collective unity? This raises new questions. Is Poland leading a movement, or could this spark a backlash that unifies the EU against such policies? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights as we continue to explore the unfolding impact of these decisions on Europe and beyond.